What makes Tears of the Kingdom so special to me is that not only is this game as ambitious as Breath of the Wild, it is fuller with so many things to do. The scope of Tears of the Kingdom is so massive in size that you will not see this whole world by the time the credits roll. The little boundaries that were set by Breath of the Wild are broken countless times with these new abilities that you have. But most importantly of all, this game is just full of choices. And that one word is this whole game. And you might think that's limiting, using one word to describe an entire game that is as massive as this one. But it's true. Because I'm not saying choice, no. I'm saying choices. And that's important because your choices aren't limited. They are absolutely limitless. Like in Breath of the Wild, you can progress in the story as fast or as slow as you wish. But in Tears of the Kingdom, you will only progress slowly because there is just so much for you to get distracted by. Don't get me wrong, there are many new ideas here, but there are also many old ones that return, like the shrines. The shrines of Breath of the Wild are one of the most talked about aspects of that game. You either loved how you had so many different trials to do, or you hated how they all kind of looked and felt the same. And I do feel like the shrines are going to be one of the more talked about aspects of Tears of the Kingdom, because they are functionally the same as Breath of the Wild. But in Tears of the Kingdom, I finally understand the true purpose of these shrines. And that's to cause adventures to happen. I recall countless times that I'd see a shrine glowing off in the distance, beckoning for me to make my way over to it. But on my way there, I would get distracted by everything. An NPC would cross my path. I'd see one of those glowing weird bunny things. I'd see a rock that looked different. I'd see a tree that was alive. Hey, I kind of want that flower. Wait, I could build a car instead. I can just go down there. I'm actually just going to warm up this mountain fire for us to skip today. Wait, what was I doing? That's how it is playing this game, because at the end of every gameplay session, you will just sit there and think, what was I doing? What was my goal at the start of this? The shrine. Your goal was the shrine. It wasn't all these other things that you did, but they were so much fun that you just simply didn't care that now you're worse off. You progressed negative distance in the story. You know where you were? Nah, you're further away now. And you might say that it's a waste of time going on all these side adventures in Tears of the Kingdom, but your time is never wasted, because you're always gaining something, whether it's a new material that has multiple uses, like a stick. You can fuse a stick with a sharp piece of metal to make a sword. Or you can take the stick, fuse it with a rock, then you have a hammer. Or you can take the stick, light it on fire, and use it like a torch. Or you can take the stick, fuse it with a plank of wood, then you have a fan. Or you can take the stick, fuse it with an explosive barrel, then you have a hand grenade. And that's just one item in this game. If I wanted to list every item and possible combination, I would be here for hours listing them all off. And I can almost guarantee you that after all that time of me listing them all off, I would still miss some, because every direction you choose to walk has its own thing to offer. And I'm not just talking about another possible fuse combination. I'm talking about a whole new gameplay experience. What you will find in the north, east, south, west will be completely its own, but I don't just mean the cardinal directions, I mean every direction. What you will find in the up will have a completely different feeling to what you will find in the down. The depths are absolutely menacing. The first time that I landed down here, I was straight up afraid to move. But my feelings of fear quickly dissipated into my want to explore, because this place is a complete inversion of the surface. Up there, you're always welcome to move in whatever way you want with no major limitations. But down here, you have one constant that's always working against you. And that's the darkness. But like with all the different problems that this game presents you with, there's always an answer, and the answer for the depth's darkness is the light roots. The light roots are a lot like the shrines on the surface, but down here they only become a teleportation point or a spawn point once you activate them. And there is no trial like with the shrines. The trial for the depths is getting there. I say that not just because this place is dark, but because this terrain is very wiggly and windy. The creatures here are very strong, and when they hurt you, you can't regain your health. The only way you can is if you eat a specific healing item, return to the surface, or rest at a light root. But the depths are just one of the new areas that you'll be exploring. The other is the Sky Islands. If the depths are an inversion of the surface, then the Sky Islands are an inversion of the depths. Because in the depths, you have infinite possibilities of movement, but one massive limitation being your eyesight. So in the Sky Islands, you have your eyesight and all your tools, but you only have one way to move forward, and that's from island to island. And that forces you to think creatively, but also within certain means. It's sort of like having a blank picture and being able to color it anything that you want, but you still have to stay within the lines or else you'll fall off. And you don't want to fall off, because this place is just a screenshot simulator. Even when it's nighttime, this place is a complete vibe. But vibes can only get you so far. And so it's time for me to talk about these 4 abilities that you have at your hand are complete game changers. Like Ascend, I can't imagine how difficult it was to design all the puzzles of this game, where you have this one ability that's entire purpose is to circumvent things. Just the idea of Ascend is cool. How I think of this ability, just imagine that every single item in this game that can be worked through, there's liquid inside of it, and this ability allows you to swim through that liquid till you reach the top. Then you have Recall that allows you to reverse time on all the different items in game. You can reverse the time on your boat to make it go back up the waterfall. You can reverse the time on falling debris from the Sky Islands to gain elevation. You can even reverse time on a pebble, and that pebble will follow its path to its original target, unbreaking. And then you have your Ultra Hand ability, that's basically a multi-purpose glue gun. And with these new Zonai items, you can build so much stuff. I've used Ultra Hand to build bridges. I've used it as a way to move a bunch of lumber at once. I've used it as a way to build some very stupid cars. It's a lot like Magnesis from Breath of the Wild, but just better in every single way. And then finally, you have Fuse that I talked about earlier, but this seemed like a massive gimmick to me. I didn't really think that these weapons would be that effective, or that I'd really be utilizing it that often. But Fuse became one of my favorite abilities, being able to make my own weapons. I can use the Zonai devices that you can use in cars. You can make a sword cannon, you can put a rocket on your shield and use it as a jetpack. But the abilities are not what I find most impressive about this game. What I find most impressive about Tears of the Kingdom would have to be Tears of the Kingdom consists of so many ideas that could have been whole games in itself, but Nintendo chose to put them all in one. They chose to have 3 maps layered on top of each other, and then they gave you the choice to engage with them as much as you wanted. They gave you the choice to build your own weapons or pick them up off the ground. They gave you the choice to ride a horse or build your own car. Nintendo could have just chose to make another game, but instead, they made the choice to make a fucking masterpiece.